Should be topic number 8 is how do we combat this level of ignorance? How do we combat this level of ignorance? Is taking us to Vimeo. I hope it works. I'll play it and then we'll discuss it.
Yeah, I don't give a
This
damn about no Africa. Nigga,
some
Africa ain't built no ship and came back over here and rescued one nigga since we left from Africa. Yeah, and Africans don't like us. Yeah, nigga, Africans don't fuck with us. They don't like us. And they stink. Yeah, they ain't some stinky people. Yeah, nigga, fuck Africa. Yeah, they ain't our people. We niggas, slaves, the descendants of slaves. They would never call no nigga. The first group of Africans, only one generation. Now the first group came. They wasn't born into this shit. Me and your people was born into this, homie. They were born slaves. They birth certificates say nigga. They was born in Africa. They are not us. They know what tribe they come from. They had a language. Once they broke them from the language and we was born in these conditions. We ain't no African. We ain't no Hebrew. We nigga. Bottom line, homie. Yeah, I don't give a
this
damn about no Africa. Nigga, Africa ain't built no ship and came back over here and rescued one nigga since we left from Africa. Yeah, and Africans don't like us. Yeah, nigga, Africans don't fuck with us. They don't like us. And they stink. Yeah, they ain't some stinky people. Yeah, nigga, fuck Africa. Yeah, they ain't our people. We niggas, slaves, the descendants of slaves. They would never call no nigga. The first group of Africans, only one generation. Now the first group came. They wasn't born into this shit. Me and your people was born into this, homie. They were born slaves. They birth certificates say nigga. They was born in Africa. They are not us. They know what tribe they come from. They had a language. Once they broke them from the language and we was born in these conditions. We ain't no African. We ain't no Hebrew. We nigga. Bottom line, homie.
All right. That's the infamous Charleston White. I saw that. I saw a part of that clip a little while ago, and that's why I kind of lost my, respect of him. I mean, I get that you're, not just. I get you've been transformed, right? You've been transplanted, and you've been transformed based on the conditions you are under. And so I guess that gives you a little uniqueness. And in fact, I guess in some ways we should embrace it like they do on the continent, where different people groups have different associations, clan, tribe, this type of thing. Uh, so I guess in that way, a Jamaican can be a Jamaican, but simultaneously be Nigerian. And I think that's the issue with the FBA ADOS stuff. You can be this group that was spawned in America that's been uh, uh, translocated and transformed into something else, sure, but you can still be African. That's the thing. You can still be African. And I think that's what people have the problems with the FBA ADOS stuff. Sure, you can be Nigerian, even though that's a construct, right? But if you guys choose to keep with it, sure, you can be that, but you're still African. That's the thing that gets us. But let me stop rambling. Let's start with Buana on this one. Buana, how do we combat this level of ignorance?
Well, with this level of ignorance, I have to defer to my brother in the chat. I think his name is Olo Gunde. He said that he provided with the gas chambers. Oh, that's a wicked. But I personally, what I would say to this is that he is, in listening to this, he is the greatest accomplishment of George Washington, Thomas Jefferson, and Andrew Jackson. All of
You're gonna
those
have to
guys.
talk a little louder, boy. Your volume is low. Talk a little louder.
Can you hear me now? Can you hear me now? One, two,
Yeah,
one,
go
two.
ahead.
Yeah, he is the best example of Thomas Jefferson, George Washington, and Andrew Jackson. When they listen to, if they was to listen to something like this, they would smile. They would say, "Look at our boy, showing how American he is." Because the Africans who was able to make it to this part of the Western world, they resisted the idea of not being African. In fact, many of them fought Revolutionary War, fight since they want to shift this idea of Americanism. After they came off the boat, they was fighting. The blacks in Jamaica was fighting this idea of Jamaicanness, whatever the hell that means. But we was fighting and we've been fighting. What about those black people? Because they don't consider themselves with the titles that was given to them or thrusted on them. They didn't buy into the ideology that was rammed down their throat with this white Jesus business. They didn't accept that. They fought at every instance. What do you consider them? Are they niggas too? You know what I mean? I think that when this guy takes one big blanket and wraps it all over 45 million people to say, yes, all of us accept this idea of what Thomas Jefferson was propagating on us Negroes here. He believed that size fits everybody. It's all encompassing. I don't accept that. I reject that outright. I stand with my brother who say that he ain't no Nigerian. He's a Soko man. You know what I mean? He understands that these ideas are foreign concepts to the African mind. You know what I mean? So I don't know. Well, I understand he's doing it for clout, and these brothers can come on and do these things for whatever reason. So when he say we stinky, because I say, well, I have to check myself to find out if I wear deodorant. Because if he say African stinky, he mean me too. He mean me too. So and I understand that, and I would never deny that. So I don't know, man. I understand that there's high ignorance, some willful ignorance, because it's with all access to information that we have right now, you shouldn't want to be ignorant. Ignorance should be evil. I know people say in the West that ignorance is bliss. Ignorance nowadays, because of the advent of technology and information, is an evil thing. Because his ancestors would have hanged themselves to read a book. They wanted to know. They know they was being denied access to the information which they had on the computer. And now this man who is ignorant, he lauds it, praises it. He is George Washington, their greatest accomplishment. Greatest accomplishment. They love him. But I'll stop there. I'm not gonna get on a rant tonight.
Yeah, no, I feel you. Like I say, whatever folks decide, right? If you don't want to uphold that construct of Nigeria, then don't. I'm not arguing that point. That's what your peoples have to decide, right? But what I'm saying is, whatever it is you choose, if you choose to be an Isoko man, that doesn't mean you can't simultaneously be an African. You understand? You can't. It doesn't mean it's one or the other. You can be both of those things. And I think we still need to promote that idea. You could be from this American experience, right? If you want to, you could be. If that's what you guys decide, then that's what y'all can be. But it doesn't mean you have to stop being African and then become the advertisement for anti-Africanness. That's the crazy part. You know, you become the advertisement on how to not be African.
The,
So now,
Coco, the
yes,
founder, the founders of the United States, when they was making their documents, they made it fundamentally clear that we are white supremacists, and this continent that they gonna govern over is our government. How in the world are people who are enslaved, not slaves by nature, but enslaved, who's brought over the continent, is embracing that philosophy and ideology and becoming black white supremacists? You can't make this shit up. But like I say, needless to say, man, I let the brothers them have it, man. I'm not gonna go in that direction. I'm gonna choose to go in another direction. If we get in the war, unfortunately, these guys are loggerheads. They're on the other side of the field as opposed to where I am. That's where I stand with it, man. I'm not getting no long diatribe with ignorance no more.
I hear you on that, Buana. Trigavi262 in the chat says the Gavi movement was successful because many enslaved Africans understood they were African because of their recently removal from the continent. So it was like everyone was on the same page. I agree. Nama X says, I don't think Black Americans are not saying they're not from the Black continent, Brother Koku. I don't know. Sometimes I feel like there's this nativism, and the history is here. You know, the history is rooted here in slavery from plantations. I don't know. That's how I hear it. I could be hearing it wrong. Namax said the fool in the video is just fringe, but it's important that Black Americans embrace their lineage and history. I'm not denying that either. In fact, that's what I'm trying to say is, like if that's what you embrace, and if you're going to embrace it, you can embrace it at the same time with being African. You don't have to do this complete. Is even beyond delineation, actually.
Yeah, doesn't start. Your lineage doesn't start from 1776.
Yeah,
it goes far beyond 1776. What are we talking about here? And then when you talk about before 1776, and when you want to delineate, what about the Africans who was brought from the West Indies to the Americas, to North America, and there was intercontinental slavery. You had slave owners who owned slave plantations, not only in the English slave plantations, not only in the Americas, but in the West Indies as well. And they used to send their slaves back and forth. So this distinction is okay. Well, like I say, man, I don't get into these kinds of discussions no more. People I understand are ahistorical. Many of them don't know their own history. Many of them are historically illiterate. I don't like to have these dialogues. I say respect to the brothers, and I wish and I hope that you'll embrace more information as you mature. I'll stop there.
Let's welcome in Uwa Bantuam this week. Uwa, how are you this week?
I'm doing all right. Still struggling, striving, but doing all right. How about you?
Good. Can't complain. Good to see you. So, what are your thoughts on this prompt? I guess
I didn't see the prompt, but I heard Soko. Says I was just researching that in Nigeria, they're part of the Benin Empire, the whole Yoruba Benin connection. I don't know what was the discussion. It was about like having their own country or something. What was it? Well, I'm sorry, I don't know the prompt.
Government, it's the government.
Wait, hold on. Did I play this video before? This is not it, right?
Yeah, you played that before.
How do we combat this level of ignorance? I see the line, but I don't know the context. What kind of ignorance are we talking about?
No, it wasn't this video. It was a Charleston White video. Hold on.
Yeah, I don't give a damn about no Africa. Nigga, Africa ain't built no ship and came back over here and rescued one nigga since we left from Africa. Yeah, and Africans don't like us. Yeah, nigga, Africans don't fuck with us. They don't like us. And they stink. Yeah, and they some stinky people. Yeah, nigga, fuck Africa. Yeah, nigga, they ain't our people. We niggas, slaves, the descendants of slaves. They would never call no nigga. The first group of Africans, only one generation. Now the first group came. They wasn't born into this shit. Me and your people was born into this, homie. They were born slaves. They birth certificates say nigga. They was born in Africa. They are not us. They know what tribe they come from. They had a language. Once they broke them from the language, and we was born in these conditions. We ain't no African. We ain't no Hebrew. We niggas. Bottom line,
Yeah, so there you go. How do we combat this level of ignorance displayed in that video, Uwa?
Well, that guy is. There's one thing I want to say. Even the term African has multiple definitions, so it kind of gets problematic when you're trying to organize. So I've noticed, especially nowadays, you got all these different races in Africa. Well, even Marcus Garvey had it, but let me say that, like, even sometimes when people say those kind of negative things, they'll give you clues on how to reverse it. Like he was talking about language, and what else was he talking about? He was talking about language, and he said another thing, what tribe they're from. Like that would be help build a connection. And it's been attempted before, especially with the Yoruba, Cuba, USA connection. If people don't know the story, uh, after the Garvey movement, one black guy went down to Cuba. He connected with the Yoruba tradition down there, and he built a village. But one thing people don't know about Yoruba is they have the longest civil war amongst themselves. Like they don't get along with themselves. If you leave them in a vacuum, it'll be this kingdom or this tribe versus that tribe, even within themselves. So that is kind of true that, especially in the USA, there's an issue with connecting back using the Yoruba tradition, and then there's real complicated ways to fix things, but it's a lot of politics involved. Trying to reconnect, you got to break through. People are being realistic, but yeah, it's a lot. It's like the whole Garvey movement was based on doing these kind of things: research, connecting with the tribes, connecting with Africa, respecting the politics, or trying to find a way around it. So it's like you'd have to build a whole Garvey movement, really. That's what I'm working on. I even got a constitution. I'm working on some things. I got a meeting tonight with the Black Panther Party about organizing in Jacksonville. So it's a lot. It's a lot. It's not a quick answer to how to fix things. So I'll rest my mic.
All right, thank you for that. Did I get Real Black Gentleman on this one?
No, you didn't. No, you didn't.
Go ahead, sir.
I mean, look, I mean, you can be in a place for 500 years, right? We can be out here in the West for 500 years. That doesn't change the last 500,000 years of African history. I mean, people move around. I mean, there were probably Africans at some point who left the continent and came right back. I mean, it's a long time. And people say 500 years. That's a long time. I mean, it's not everyone 500, you know what I'm saying? People came in all kinds of ways. Some of us don't have descendants who've been out here in the West for 500. A lot of us maybe only, you know what I'm saying, 300. So, I mean, I'm just saying, like, culture is one thing, but I mean, hard land, I mean, that you and your peoples, you know what I'm saying, arranged and gotten and that you worked and have claim to. And I mean, America is some second level stuff compared to that. How do you actually, I mean, it's like, there is some pride. Don't get it twisted. I mean, but it's like, it pales in comparison to Africa. I mean, it's not a voluntary thing of us being here. That's the whole premise. I mean, like, talking about slavery is as if there's something too many people fought against slavery. People didn't just want to be here and just be a slave. Too many people fought themselves. You know what I'm saying? Chopped off whoever head that they had to get free and not be under some bondage. You know what I'm saying? Too many people fought for freedom well long before 18, you know what I'm saying, 63. And you know, people wanted to be free. Black people in the islands, you know what I'm saying? The Maroon communities all over the West, on this side of the Atlantic. They wanted to be free. They didn't care about slavery. Too many of us, you know what I'm saying? It's like, you know what I'm saying? Like they say what Tubman said, I freed 1,000 slaves. I could have freed 1,000 more if I could have just let them know that they were slaves. And I mean, that's the same conundrum of trying to, like, you know, have a schism, a break in this, like, our psychic awareness, and like kind of like jolt ourselves into, like, you know, information that is like, you would hope that you could, you know, talk to someone about anything on the top of our head and get a cogent response, instead of someone saying, what are you talking about? Or at least being able to refer someone to that information and be able to decipher that and disseminate that into a cogent response. I mean, what we're talking about, I mean, there's a lot of people who, if we were just to hand it over to it, it would be like we're talking about, you know what I'm saying? It's like, it's not that hard. I mean, sometimes it takes a little bit of time, but it's difficult. I mean, I really feel like I wasn't worried about talking about a lot of this stuff, and that I was just kind of be able to take this kind of think tank information, like really go at it out here in the world, and really like hammer together some stuff, and like really like implement stuff, and be on my purpose and mission to, you know, whether or not the put together a building, or go out and engage a people for an objective. You know, that's that's how I see things. You don't necessarily want to do that alone. It's great when you have you know what I'm saying, people to do that with, but like, what am I trying to say? It's like, as far as like claiming, you know what I'm saying, distancing yourself from Africa, that's weak. I mean, I think that it's reactionary. Yeah, I'm not with it. I'm not going to, while these white folks claim Ukraine, you know what I'm saying? Like, as long as these white folks is claiming far deep Europe, I'm gonna claim far deep Africa, just on the strength. You know what I'm saying? No one gonna take any part of Africa away from me. That's how I feel. I'm a you.
Yes, sir. Trigger Happy, I agree with you. I saw that Nama X comment. Trigger Happy says to Nama X, that's actually a major fabrication. Libyans, by all accounts in ancient texts, were black nomads. Yeah, my reading of it is that all of that area there was black folks. That northern, what's that? The Sahel? Is that? Yeah, I think it's Sahel. Like, that was all dark-skinned black people. And in fact, from what I understand, Libya today, the indigenous population there are still these, you know, real black people there. You know, Carl, I think I didn't get to you on this one, right?
Yeah, I'm here. Yeah. So for me, just speaking for myself personally, um, my father is Geechee, so I've never been under any illusion that I'm anything but African. You know, I've never had that misconception, and you know, like Malcolm X said, he said, just because a cat might be born in an oven don't make you a biscuit. You know, if we were Americans, we wouldn't have needed a civil rights bill, a 13th Amendment, a 14th Amendment. We need all these laws to give us our rights, because if we were really, truly Americans. So this Charleston White guy, and when I put this prompt up, I couldn't believe how stupid he said we niggas. Like, why would you identify yourself with something like that? But I think to combat this level, it really do have to have African centered education, and we got to start young. This is not a person who just picked up this mindset as a adult. He was taught this as a young child. It's something he was brought up with. Either that, or to my belief, I think that he is working. I personally believe he might be connected with some government agency. He does have the stench of COINTELPRO on him. As quickly as he became popular in the internet, he does have the smell of COINTELPRO. I don't want to call everybody agent, but it just, if it walks like a duck, talks like a duck. But yeah, this stupidity that is going around, and it's really meant to undermine any type of unity, because unity among African people is our oppressors' biggest fear. That's what gets them to react the most. When Black people organize, that gets them nervous. That's like their kryptonite. You know, Superman is like kryptonite. That's their kryptonite. Um, that's what keeps them up at night. It's black people organizing and unifying with each other. So people like Charleston White, people like this Tariq Nasheed, they put these people out here in the ether, in the internet to create this unity, to create this function. I think we have to call it out, but we have to have serious education with our young people. We can't depend on the schools. We have to educate our own children, educate them about their history. Our history doesn't start in slavery. Slavery is in the beginning. Slavery interrupted our history, and if we're starting from history, then everything that we have now seems like it's an improvement, it's an advance, and it's really not. We're, if we start from where we began as free people, as African people, creating our empires, our culture, our language, this is the interruption in that. So, like Marcus Garvey said, you know, intelligence rules the world, ignorance carries the burden. So right now we're burdened with this ignorance. And this Charleston White dude is a big part of that. So those are just my thoughts. I'm gonna give the mic.
I appreciate that, Carl. Um, in the chat, Olagunde says North Africa has had at least 4 waves of major invasion by 4 different distinct ethnic groups. Jose says Libya was 51% black in Gaddafi's days. Trigger Happy 262 gives me some correction. He says the Sahel is still black. Tuareg, Kanuri, Zagawa, Tubu, Haratin. I'm probably butchering these names. I'm sorry. Beja are all black, says Trigger Happy 262. He says our enemy is those fraudsters on the coast. Okay. And Nama X says Trigger Happy, I get your point, but the oldest names we use for each other with the color black in their own languages. Jose, did I get to you on this one?
No, not yet.
Okay, go ahead. It's on
yeah, I want to repeat what I said in the chat. Akata didn't work out how they expected. So now we're switching to old Richard Pryor jokes of stinking Africans. This thing isn't going to disappear easy, because what I've noticed, I see that the crabs in the barrel, and this is an example I'm giving. The crabs in the barrel needs an upgrade, because it's not the crabs are not just pulling other crabs back in the barrel, but they are hiding behind them also, because it's also accompanied by a smear campaign. So people are being pulled back, plus a smear campaign, and that needs an explanation, right? So what I've made of it, of what I tend to see, is that white supremacy white supremacy does not exist. If it existed, we had other people, Asians and brown people, etc., shoulder to shoulder with us. The game is to kick down. So worldwide, people are satisfied when they can look down to somebody, and that's what I see in this whole FBA movement, and Cape Verdeans, mainly from the islands where I come from in the north. We are not African. We are a mixed race. We are a new race. Is the word on my islands, and it's tiring, right? It sucks the lust out of you to keep I'm also tired of it, but what I see happening now is that celebrities are going to Africa and putting it out there, right? And what we black people worldwide need is celebrities to lead the way. And so I guess they are going to lose this, right? Their crowd is going to escape out of their nets and run after celebrities. I hope, but yeah, it's horrible. Oh yeah, there was one thing also. In the end, he says, "Yeah, we were born into it," but us children of immigrants, we are born into it too. You know, we are born into and here in the meantime, it's called urban music. But we were born also on radio stations that don't want to play rap. Uh, uh, Record shops that call their black American music import music, and it's apart. You have to look for the import music shops to find LL Cool J and such, right? So we were also born into it. We were born into it. And another thing that I want to add and repeat is that this American exceptionism. So blacks complain about other blacks copying them, but hello, white whites worldwide follow the whites in America. Asians worldwide follow the Asians in America. The United States is a business. It's a multinational or whatever you call it. It's a business of mercenaries, and that's the army and the police, workers that pay the bills, and and here it comes, and mannequins that sell the American dream. So black people in America are selling the American dream to black people worldwide. So it's logic that we follow and copy. We look to the United States, and we are all programmed. It shouldn't be like that. United States, the blacks in the United States is a separate group, yes, and has to be a separate group with subgroups, of course, but because in the South it's not the same as in Boston or LA or whatever. So it's just like on the continent, or like Nigeria, for example. The United States is a separate group like Nigeria with lots of variations. So yes, indeed, and that's how FBA and ADOS should look at themselves as a member of the African family, and they should behave like that. But they behave exactly the same as on the continent because we don't deal with each other. I believe it's 15% of the business that is with Africa is inside the continent, and so we are so comparable with each other. Everything that FBA shouts and tries to separate themselves with, on the continent, we deal with the same issues. And is it not on the continent, then it's in Europe or the British island, where we're dealing with comparable or exactly the same issues. So the harder they scream that they are different, the more we are alike. And of course, I don't need to mention, but I'm going to mention, the rest of the world is more Pan-African than us, because when they see me, I'm just another nigger. When they see me, I'm an African. When they see an African American, he's an African or just another nigger. And I pass the mic.
Jose, just to your point, I'm sorry, Jose, to your point about the rest of the world being Pan African, we were just talking a couple weeks ago about those black Americans who went to Mexico to get the surgery, cosmetic surgery, and they got killed by the cartels. Down, they thought they were Haitians. So,
yes,
just to your point about that.
Yeah, I saw that. I followed that. And
Yes.
yeah.
Did I get everyone on that one?
Yeah, powerful last statement, OC. Powerful last statement.
Yeah,
Thank
good
you.
last statement. Let's go to Shooter Breeze topic number 9. Shooter Breeze topic number 9, talking about FBA.